right, can you tell me your version of how I proposed to you?
Oh, it was like awesome because I like surprises and you like totally surprised me. You know how I totally was not expecting it at all because you had just come back from overseas and I knew, us being opposite, you wouldn't propose unless you had everything in order. And that day after you got back, you went to a pool party and one of our friends was determined to throw you in the pool and you were determined not to go in and he tackled you and your leg snapped in two. And so you were like out of commission and I just knew, okay, he's not going to be proposing to me anytime soon because I'm sure he didn't have time to get a ring. And I was down in Miami at the time and my dad drove up and got you and brought you back down because you couldn't work because you were handicapped at that time. Temporarily. Recovering. And I remember you saying, could we spend some time praying together Saturday morning? Because that'd been a big part of our relationship. And as we prayed, afterwards, I lifted up my eyes, looked at you, and you said, I want you to be my best friend, running partner, and prayer partner for life. And I said, I do, and I couldn't say it fast enough. When my hearing loss began to impact your life and impact our relationship, what thoughts started going through your mind?
You know, I think probably a mix of good and a bad. The selfish part was, am I going to have to put up with repeating myself over and over again? I think that's one of the big frustrations over the years, and just feeling like I'm not being patient with you, I'm not treating you how I want to treat you, but I'm having to repeat myself 3 or 4 times. I miss this, I miss that, I miss not being able to talk when we'd walk at night because it was dark and you couldn't read lips. I would miss talking in bed when we turned the lights out because that was kind of the end. And that was just frustrating. So the feelings and thoughts probably ran the gamut from that frustration to wondering, you know, what does the future hold? We talked about cochlear implants probably, 10, 15 years earlier. And at that point, you were like, yeah, I don't want to do that. There was an aspect that you felt like this is something that God had allowed in your life, and you did. I understood that you didn't want to rush into it. I think I wrestled with why not get it fixed if the technology's there, but I also knew it had to be your decision. So any amount of pressure or pushing that I might want to do selfishly, because I would get some of those things you take for granted back. You know, I didn't want to push. It had to be your decision. So,
one thing I've loved about how God made you is just because you are the opposite of me, you are very detailed, you are very good at planning ahead. You really were proactive in so many ways helping me. You have done a lot, and I've really appreciated that.